They stopped the class to watch and play in the snow. And I was like, what is happening? It's just snow.
Welcome to Travel Devil. I'm your host Clara Francken, and in a world full of mass tourism, we're here to talk about unconventional travel. Let's get into it. Today I'm sitting here with a friend of mine. I'm sitting here with Debbie. Together we went to Turkey for 1 year, and we are going to talk about our experience over there.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and where are we sitting at the moment, Debbie?
We are sitting in an Airbnb in Cologne in Germany, where we went for the weekend to visit the Christmas markets.
Yeah. We're visiting Christmas markets. We're in the Christmas vibe, and we're trying to meet once a year so that we can see each other a bit more, because I live in Germany, you're still living in Belgium, and that way we can have some quality time together.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy we can now finally make our first podcast debut.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
Yes, amazing. All right. And so I want to talk a little bit about Turkey. So maybe first to talk about the situation. This was 2015, do I remember it right?
2014, 2015.
Yeah, so we left Belgium 2014, a bit after your birthday or around your birthday, to be honest.
5 September and the 7th was my birthday.
Yeah. So you celebrated your birthday in Turkey directly.
Yeah, it was the first day that we met our host family. So that was on my birthday.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so we arrived to Turkey with an organization called EFS. We were there for 1 year in a host family, and we did have quite some time to learn the language, to make friends, to really see how it's like to be, well, I don't know if we can say we know how it is to be a Turkish person, but definitely got very close to that because we were really living like a local in a specific way. And that's what I really loved about this exchange. Yeah, but maybe to get into that a little bit more, Debbie, can you tell me, how was your choice to really decide on going on exchange in general?
I think that came from the point that I was really adventurous when I was like a teenager. I wanted to travel, see the world, make new experiences, go on adventure in general, I think. So actually, I think if I remember it right, it was my dad who came home with an information letter from AFS because he knew I wanted to travel. I wanted to see America in general and travel the world. And I think he came home with this paper information document and said like, oh, I know you want to travel. Maybe this is something for you. And as I got the information, I immediately was like, I want to do this. I want to go on exchange. I want to have this experience, learn a new language, go abroad, go on adventures. So, I really loved the idea of going on exchange.
Yeah, and that's something like in Belgium, more people do. It's not so uncommon. I don't think many people did it, but it was definitely something that people knew about. And in our case, it was after high school. So it was basically we finished high school and then we were going to choose university. And before choosing that, we actually took a gap year. Some people do take it during their high school, but then they miss out on half a year or they have to repeat afterwards in worst case. So it was really good for us, I think, that we really finished high school, but we felt like, I mean, at least in my case, I could, for example, say I also wanted to travel around, see the world a little bit more. And I didn't really know where I wanted to go specifically. I just was like, I just want to do something. I don't know what I want to study yet. I feel so young. I feel too young to start studying at like 18. And so for me, going abroad was really, really eye-opening also to, how to say that, verder ontwikkelen. Debbie, you're speaking Dutch, this, I'm using this advantage.
To develop.
Yeah, to further develop.
As a person,
Before going to Turkey, I wouldn't say like, oh, Turkey changed me, but definitely like going abroad in general does change you.
It brought you new insights, eh?
Yeah, definitely. So fast forward, we're going to choose our countries. How did you choose Turkey?
Well, it's quite a funny story because I've been to Turkey before with my family, like on a luxurious vacation. And I went when I was 16, I think I went the last time with my family on this vacation. And like it was in Turkey, in Antalya, I think, if I remember it right. The hotel was called Baia Lara, so it was in Lara probably. And I really loved the experience. And there were like these animators, female and male people who were like doing activities like dancing, archery, the fun club. And like I really liked these animators. They were like really nice. And they were like speaking to each other. And I was like, oh, I want to understand their language. And I think that was one of the first moments that I started thinking about choosing Turkey as one of my choices for the countries that I would like to go to for exchange. And also, I remember when I filled in this list of choices that they told me if I would choose Turkey, there would be a big chance that I would go there because not a lot of people choose these countries. And all the other ones were like Latin American countries for learning Spanish. So I already knew that there was like a big chance, and then I got the news that I was going to Turkey, and I was quite excited.
What were your two other choices? Because in Belgium, or at least in the Flemish part of Belgium, we do have to choose 3 countries. We cannot put an order in it.
Yeah.
And the minimum is 3 countries that you had to write down. So I was wondering.
I think I even chose more. I don't remember all of them, but like some Latin American countries. So maybe Argentina was on my list probably. Maybe Mexico, but I don't really remember. But I do remember that I chose like, I think 5 or 6 countries, like all Latin American and then Turkey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that must have been like quite like the difference when you then got the news that it was Turkey. For me, I chose Iceland and Sweden.
Sweden, wow, okay.
And then Turkey. So it was like 2 cold countries versus
No,
one.
Turkey's better. It's hotter there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and then fast forwards again. We're arriving to Turkey. How was your first day in Turkey? Because that was not at our host families yet.
Yeah, the first day was on the AFS camp where all these students from over the world arrived.
Yeah. I'm sorry for briefly interrupting you. AFS is the organization that we went with.
Yeah. So we all arrived at the airport where there were volunteers waiting for us, if I remember it right. Then when like most people arrived, I think we took like a bus or something to go to the hotel where we were staying for the 2 days, where we were doing the activities. I remember it mostly as being really excited. I love meeting people. I mostly love meeting people from abroad because they are sometimes really different than Belgian people. Belgian people can be quite closed to one another. Foreign people can be like really warm, open people. So I always love to meet people from other countries. And then like we were like with a really big group. And I mostly remember that in these 2 days we became all like really close, like one big family or one big group of friends. And yeah, I really liked this first weekends.
Yeah, me too. Do you remember some things of like what the Turkish organizers would like teach us? Like we learned a little bit of Turkish, but we also learned a little bit about like cultural differences, I think.
Yeah.
Do you remember something like that something stuck out?
Well, there's one thing I remember, but it's not of what you're speaking about now. But I remember that there was in the evening that every country had to introduce his country by giving kind of a little show. It was like we had a little stage, we had to do something that was typical from our country.
Yeah.
And we chose some songs that we were like dancing on in a group. I mostly remember this because it was like really funny.
Yeah.
We even did like the plop dance, which is like a child dance in Belgium. So it was like really funny.
But we were basically still children, right?
Yeah, and we were like wearing the flag of our country, like a cape, like kind of like Superman. So I mostly remember that moment and like having fun and meeting these people. Yeah.
When I'm thinking back on that as well, it's like, it's funny because in Belgium, I don't think the Belgian people are like really like known to be like so proud to be Belgium or something.
Yeah, but we were like really proud.
Yeah, it was just like a funny way. I also remember, I don't remember even when that happened. That was on this camp or on another day. But didn't we once have to sing like the national anthem?
It's possible.
And we sang like a K3 song or something.
Yeah, it's possible because even today I don't remember the full lyrics of our national anthem.
Yeah, so that's how proud we are, right?
Yeah, we are proud on our fries and beer and this, but we don't sing this kind of
Yeah,
songs.
yeah, exactly. Proud of our
We are
beer.
mostly proud of our food, I think.
We have nice food. Come to Belgium.
Yeah, come to Belgium.
Yeah, I also remember a bit of the cultural things that surprised me. I remember, I think somebody explained us that we shouldn't like blow our nose in like a tissue too loud because that can be offensive in Turkey as well. So, I mean, I remember then fast forward to being entered in Turkey for a while. It's like becoming more winter times. And I had to go to the toilet to blow my nose because I cannot like wait for the little things to come out of the nose and then like put it away with a tissue. Like,
Yeah, that's terrible.
and you really have to blow your nose when you need it. And then people were just like, I don't know what they were doing. They were just like not blowing their nose because for some reason it was seen as something that you would. I don't really know. Maybe a Turkish person should tell me again what is exactly the problem with it. But for some reason it was seen badly. And I remember even being on the toilet, blowing my nose, and then my friend on the toilet next to me like, Clara, are you okay? And I was like, come on, I cannot blow my nose anywhere. Yeah. Do you remember that?
No, I
You
don't
don't?
remember. No.
Wow. Crazy. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I never became sick there, so maybe I never noticed that it was not appropriate to blow your nose.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Was there another cultural thing that stuck out to you? Like a difference?
Well, there were multiple things, but I remember my headmaster in school, she was like, when I arrived, she was like greeting me and she was like, you are here now, you have to learn Turkish and our culture and everything, surrounding our culture, our nationality. And like, I remember she was like, really like, you have to learn. And like, when I started learning the language and when I could speak to her, she was like really proud and stuff. And I also remember this kind of greeting to an older person that you're showing respect to, that you were like taking the hand, kissing it, putting it to your head, and then
To your forehead.
showing like this kind of respect. And my headmaster was like giving me her hand, like, do it. And then I first time did it. It was like really strange, but she was like, good, because I knew this symbol and I was learning the language. Yeah. I remember that was quite strange to me, because in our culture we also have respect for older people, but like not in the same way that they show it in Turkey. I think mostly by speaking like in the you form, like to like a schoolmaster or headmaster in Belgium, or to like, but not like to our grandparents or something. That's more,
Yeah, I remember
It's
also
different.
my host sisters greeting their grandparents with a kiss on the hand and then to the forehead. But I think it's more like a cultural thing as well, and to show respect at the same time. But when you were talking about your headmaster, I remember I had a male headmaster. I don't know if it's because of that, but I remember very vividly that I was sitting with my friends on a bench, and like the headmaster was passing by, and we were all just sitting with our little skirts and with our knees like on top of each other. You know how girls sit, or how guys can sit as well, of course. And then my friend was slapping my leg, being like, put your legs next to each other, because apparently it was rude to sit with your legs crossed when the headmaster passes.
Okay.
So it was considered rude. So I had to sit up straight with my two legs next to each other, and that was better.
I think if you didn't go to a Catholic school in Belgium.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
I think, if I remember it right, because I went to Catholic school as well, primary and also secondary. The first part of secondary school, I also was in a Catholic school. I remember it. I think it also wasn't appropriate there to sit like with crossed legs and like have these tops with like the really thin lines.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was more about clothing. I feel like in my Catholic school in Ghent, we had also like a uniform. So we always had to wear green. And yeah, of course, we wouldn't be like, how is it called, strapless, right?
Strapless.
No, or it's like with...
No, it's not
like,
strapless.
Strapless is even with nothing. It had to have like, your shoulders were not able to be visible. Yeah. So you had to have like at least like a t-shirt that goes over your shoulders. But
Yeah, it's
I mean,
correct.
at school in Turkey, there was also a uniform. It was a different kind of uniform, not like the one in Belgium, which was mainly as long as you wear green, it was good. It has to be a specific color of green, depending on how old you were. The older people could always change the color of green a little bit more, even if that was not officially true. But in Turkey, it was like this very specific skirt and very specific. I think it was, although I think the t-shirt always had to be black. I'm not even sure. How was your uniform at school?
My uniform, I was wearing like light brown pants.
In Belgium or in
And
Germany? Or in
in
Germany?
Turkey.
In Turkey.
In Turkey. No, in Belgium, I didn't go to a uniform school.
Yeah.
Never. No, we could wear whatever we want. But in Turkey, it was with uniform as well. I was wearing the brown, light brown pants. And then I had like a dark t-shirt with like the name of the school on top. And then, if I remember it right, we also had like some kind of sweater to put over it. But that was not with just like the school name on. That was just one that we could buy ourselves. But that had to be like a bit in the same color, like this. Yeah, but some girls were also, I think, wearing skirts. I don't really remember, but I chose to wear pants because I feel more comfortable in them.
Okay, but you had a skirt at school as well. Like some people did wear skirts.
I think so, yeah, but not a lot of people actually. I think, yeah, a lot of people, a lot of female people, yeah, a lot of friends are just girls in general, were also wearing pants. Yeah.
Most of the time I was definitely wearing a skirt, I think. But like in my school, I feel like almost all the girls were wearing skirts. Okay, let's talk a little bit about winter time, because we were there, we arrived after summer. We arrived there, we got introduced to our host families, we slowly learned the language, and then, yeah, December is just around the corner, which is this month as we speak. How was it for you to be away from home?
I think being away from home, like when I left, I told my family like I really have to live in this year, do my best to make a friend group, learn the language, learn the culture.
Integrate.
To integrate, yeah. They also told us before leaving from the organization itself that if you leave, it's better not to have too many contact with your family because otherwise you will be homesick. Like you have to live in the moment there. So I really tried to do this. And I think in the beginning, I sometimes felt kind of lonely because we knew some basic from the language, but it was not really easy from Dutch to learn Turkish. Like to me, it was in the beginning, I was like every night really tired of hearing Turkish all day, not understanding everything they said, trying to understand things. It was like really tiring. I remember that. And in the beginning, I sometimes felt kind of lonely, but yeah, I didn't want to contact my family too much. I wanted to try to learn, to integrate. So yeah, I remember the beginning was a bit hard for me. But as I kept on learning, I made friends in school. Yeah, everything became better once you started learning the language. Also, my host family was like really nice. They took me to a lot of places. They also like to travel. So I saw like a lot of places in Turkey. They were like really good people. So they tried to make me feel at home, even though, I was not their real child. They were like really good to me, really friendly people. I had a little sister from 10 years old then, and a little brother who was 6, and they were like really happy that they had like a big sister who came from abroad. So yeah, they were like really nice family.
And like in December, because in December it's more like, for me, it's always, I think it was the only year that I didn't celebrate Christmas at home. I always celebrated Christmas with my family. And I also was like you a little bit about the idea that, okay, we shouldn't go to like contact our family too much. Like even I remember my family wanted to call me and I was not so receptive on calling. I was gonna be like, I mean, we're seeing each other in like half a year. Why should we call now? a bit extreme on that. So, but still in December, I was like a bit, I don't know. I remember on Christmas, my host family, they did some Christmas foods, or they did some. I'm thinking maybe it was the 24th, to be honest, because we called my family and they were sitting together as well. And we had like a table with a lot of food, and they put out little lights, and I even got like a little Christmas present, which was a t-shirt that I lost a couple of months later. I really don't know how. I lost a whole bag when moving back to Belgium. One bag of clothes is gone. All my jewelry, all my clothes from Turkey, gone. I think I lost them at the airport, but that's beside the point. I received a little gift and I was really happy, but still I was also like, oh yeah, I'm not home, I'm not celebrating Christmas. And then I called my family and I talked with them over the phone, with everybody, and it was fun seeing everyone. It was via Skype back then. We were Skyping.
Yeah.
And I saw my grandparents at my house, at my parents' place, and my sisters, and we talked a little bit, and my host family talked a bit with them. It was kind of fun. And during the day of the 24th and the 25th, I think I just skipped school. I'm pretty sure I probably skipped school and I didn't go. And I went ice skating with some friends, I think. But my school wasn't so strict. They were just seeing me as like the foreign person. And so a lot of the time I would like leave school like 1 hour too early. And normally, if you want to leave school early, you had to climb over the wall in our school. But because I had like a knee injury, and the guy at the door was very friendly, and he was always like, yeah, come, I will let you through. And so I didn't have to climb
You
over
lucky
the wall.
bastard.
Yeah. So how was Christmas? How was the 24th? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah, my family, they were Muslim, so they did not really celebrate Christmas, but like they showed interest in it and in how I was celebrating it. And I remember that night, I was also Skyping my family. They came together with like the whole family for Christmas Eve. And I remember that time that I was like a little bit like feeling sad, like I'm here now, I'm not with my family celebrating, because everybody was together, everybody was waving to me through the camera, and I was like, well, I want to be there at that time. Yeah, that was a bit confronting, because we were not really having our Christmas celebration in Turkey. But yeah, my family tried to, show interest and listen to how I was feeling on Christmas, this kind of stuff. So yeah, but I remember that night as feeling a bit, yeah, sad. It was a bit difficult not to be with my family on that evening specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. If you don't have anything else to do as well as like to put your ideas somewhere else.
Yeah.
And did you then celebrate because you did have like some other AFS friends, which are people with the same organization who were in your surrounding?
Well,
Did you decide to go together with them to celebrate Christmas another day together with friends, or did that not happen?
no, well, we only were with two people in the city where I was living. It was me and Nicole, my Italian friends. But we were living like 1 hour apart, because it was like a really, really big city where we were staying.
Everything is 1 hour apart.
Yeah.
In Turkey, I feel like the same city is always 1 hour to get anywhere.
Yeah, so we were meeting each other quite often, but I don't remember that we met for Christmas. I think she also called her family, and that we both had our evening with our, host family, and calling our biological family to say hi on Christmas. But I do remember that we had some kind of Christmas festivity afterwards with the organization AFS. But that was not in the city where I lived, because I was staying in Mersin in the south of Turkey, next to Adana, a really big city as well. And there were staying more AFS students. So I remember that we went to Adana to celebrate it together with the other students and the families of the students, that we had some kind of little festivity for Christmas there. Yeah. And I think we all got a gift. And if I remember right, I had a mug to put my coffee or my tea or my chocolate milk in. And I kept it and took it even to Belgium. But I think I don't have it anymore. Yeah, it's been 10 years, so probably I broke it or something stupid like that. But I even took it back to Belgium after that year. Yeah.
Amazing. That's cute. That's cute. I think the Italians, they celebrate Christmas one day later, right? They celebrate on the 25th.
Oh, I don't remember.
I'm not 100% sure. something like that, because I celebrated Christmas afterwards with my Italian friends, because they were like Italians, a lot of Italians, like 50% of the group of AFS was consisted of Italians.
Yeah.
And then all the others were like from everywhere, like worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide.
We had like representation of like South America, we had Asia, we had Europe. We didn't have anyone from Africa, actually.
No, we didn't.
Oceania, no.
No, only Europe, North and South America. Yeah.
We had North America as well.
And Asia.
So we celebrated Christmas, I think on the 25th with my friends. And it was quite fun as well, because we went together and we all brought a dish which was like typical from our home country, which the funny thing is I made smashed potatoes. And the Italians made gnocchis. And I didn't know that gnocchis are made from potatoes.
Oh, so there were like a lot of potatoes.
So there were a lot of potatoes. Yes. But it was a fun night. I will never forget that night. It was amazing. We were like at Manuel's place. Yeah, his host family said like we could have the house for the evening. I really had a lot of fun. We really had a party, and then we did like a secret Santa thing where everybody gave each other a gift. I think my secret Santa, the person who was going to give me a gift, forgot her gift, so I didn't get anything. I probably gifted somebody like a ring or some jewelry, because in Turkey like there was like jewelry sold everywhere for cheap money. And then the next day I think we went to some school with AFS. It was also something organized. We had to like help out somewhere to do some charity work, and we were all a bit hangover. Which we were not all allowed at the time, because we were not all over 18, I think. But it was a fun night. Yeah. So, after Christmas, I also wanted to talk a little bit about first New Year, actually, to be honest. How was New Year for you?
Well, New Year was quite a strange experience, actually. New Year was quite a strange experience, actually, because I was meeting with a friend who told me that we were meeting with more friends of him. But in the end, when I arrived, it was just him.
Ooh.
So, yeah. During the night, I went back home because it was clear that he just wanted to be more than friends. And I was not interested in that at that time. So I went back to my family, and they were celebrating it with, I think it was a cousin of my host mom.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to you were meeting outside or something?
Yeah, I was meeting outside with
it was
like
at
a friend.
Party place that you both were together?
No, he said we were meeting at a friend's house, but then he changed the address, and like we just met on the street, and I was like, I'm not gonna sit here on the streets.
For New Year,
for New Year.
On New Year.
And I think in the end, I took a taxi back home. I said like, no, I'm gonna go back to my family. I don't want to be here right now with you.
Strong, independent woman.
Yeah, voila. So I went back to my family, I remember, and they were like celebrating it with like this cousin of my mom, having just like a dinner at home. So I went back there,
That's fun.
To celebrate it with my family.
Yeah, I celebrated Christmas, New Year with some Turkish friends, and was also only guys, because I think actually I wanted to go with a friend of mine. And then he said, like, yeah, but I cannot go or something. The thing was also, like, most of our friends were a bit younger than us, right? So we have to say, like, we were 18 going 19. And most of them were, like, 15, 16-ish. I would say 16. Most of them, probably.
I was in last year in high school, so they were 1 year younger.
I was in the before the last year. So okay, just a little explanation here. We were both 18 when we left.
Yeah.
And then we actually already had finished high school. You repeated your last year.
Yeah.
Well, I repeated the year before my last year, because that was, the people were saying, like people in the last year, they all have to study a lot because they have their big state exam coming up. So it's better for you to not be in the last year, because you will not have so many friends. Everybody will be studying and stuff, so it's not going to be as fun as if you're just going to go with people from 1 year younger, which means that I was with, in Belgium we would say 5th graders, because 6th grade is the last year.
Yeah.
And in Turkey, that was 11th grade because 12th grade was the last year. So you were in the 12th and I was in the 11th.
Well, I started in the 12th, but I think halfway the year, they changed me to the 5th class and Belgium, or the 11th
to the
class.
11th class as well.
Because also my friends that I made had to study, like they could not meet after school. I was feeling a bit, alone because they didn't have a lot of time. So with discussing this with school, they decided to change me to the 11th class. And there the people had, more free time still. So I had 2 friend groups actually, one from the last year and one from the 11th grade. But they also changed me because of this reason that they had to study a lot for the state exams. That's true.
Yeah, and so I was going to celebrate New Year. I really wanted to go out, but like people from the 16 years olds, most of the girls, they were not allowed to go out. And then some guys were allowed, but even them apparently were not really allowed. And then there was this one guy from my class who said like his bigger nephew is going to go to a party and it's gonna be fun and I can join them and him and his friend group, but because they need a girl to enter. So basically the thing was we had I think it was, where was it, in Alsancak in Izmir? I was doing exchange in Izmir. And I don't remember the exact name of the street, but there was one big party street. And basically my friends were not allowed to enter the place without a girl because the guys needed a girl to enter the party. Because otherwise it would only be guys at the party. It's a stupid rule. But they needed me to enter and I also just wanted to go to a party. And I remember actually that night, a guy asked me, one of these people asked me, "Kafan güzel mi?" Do you know what that means? Kafan güzel mi? Is your head beautiful?
Are you drunk?
Yeah. And I didn't know. And I was not drunk. And they asked me, "Is your head beautiful?" And I was like, "Thank you, yes." It was a weird question, but okay, I'm taking this compliment in a weird way. So they thought I was drunk, but I was not drunk. It was very funny. I only realized after talking to this nephew of my friends who explained it to me. But anyway, all right. I wanted to go through some questions I received about Turkey. So I'm going to read you something and I just want to hear your reaction on it. Okay? So somebody's saying, "I just moved to Turkey and I will be going to school soon. I'm really worried about the language barrier since I really don't know any Turkish. Right now, I know a few phrases and words, but I hope I get the same experience as you. Do you have any advice to learn Turkish really fast and effectively?"
Well, for me, what helped, I had a notebook. And before leaving Belgium, we had to do some online course to reach level A. But that was the really basic conversations, like saying hello, what's your name, what's your age, swimming, walking, these kind of words that we already learned before. But for me, what helped was to keep my notebook with me in school, write down words, ask what does it mean. And by this, every day I learned more words, I learned more sentences, and my knowledge of the language increased every day. At a certain point, I asked my host family. My host mom, she spoke a bit English. So she spoke English to me in the beginning. And at a certain point, I felt like I had some kind of basic knowledge, but it was not increasing anymore. So I asked her not to speak English to me anymore, but to speak Turkish so that I could even increase my knowledge even more. And from that point on, I remember that I learned even more, and every day I was learning new sentences, new words. It was quite hard because still you didn't understand everything they were saying, but day by day I understood more and I knew also more. And I also started speaking the way that people were speaking. So actually, you learned by listening, by writing things down, by asking what does this mean. For me personally,
Bune.
that kind of helped. Yeah. Bune.
What is this?
What is this?
And then pointing at something.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Did you make any friends despite the language barrier?
Yeah, I did, because one of my best friends during the exchange, or actually a few of my best friends, let's say like this, they didn't know a lot of English. So I kind of learned Turkish from them, and they kind of learned some English from me. So it
Cool.
was like kind of a cool friendship because,
Tandem.
yeah, we learned, we both increased our knowledge of language. We became friends. We learned from each other. Like we didn't always understand each other, but then it was quite funny because we were like trying to explain it to each other, and like we were showing like really interest in this. That was quite beautiful, actually.
Okay, interesting. And then another question here. I'm starting Turkish high school soon and I want to know the main essentials to bring. Like, is the school different from in the UK?
Well, I've never been to the high school in the UK, but I can imagine that it's different.
Also, bear in mind we were there 10 years ago, so maybe the
Yeah,
situation today is a bit different as well.
yeah,
But
yeah,
continue.
yeah. But what do I mostly remember from school? Yeah, I remember every morning we were at the playground of the school, and then the bell rings. Everybody was standing in the line from his class, and we started by singing the national anthem, like pulling the flag up on the playground. This was the beginning of the school, and then row by row was going inside the building to the class. We were taking our place in the classroom, and then like the lesson started. I remember at the break over noon, we were like mostly eating inside or outside,
Eating all the time.
eating all the time, yeah, drinking tea. And then afternoon, there was one or two more classes, and school ended very early. That was also a big difference for me because in Belgium, we were going to school from 8 to like 4 in the afternoon. And in Turkey, it was like finished at, I think, 2 o'clock because it was getting too hot where I was living. I was living like in the south of Turkey. So school finished earlier there than I was used to in Belgium. But the national anthem, that was a really big thing every morning.
Yeah, and she's asking for essentials. I think she's also thinking about like what things to bring to class compared.
Oh, like that. Well, I always have my notebook, my school books, this kind of stuff, my pencils. That's not that
I feel like there were
different.
not so many school books in my case. I don't remember so well. I just remember like I had my notebook and I was writing
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But I don't remember like on a big amount of school books. But in Belgium, I like comparing it to Belgium, I cannot compare it to the UK either.
Yeah.
But I did have like a lot of school books in Belgium. Like for every class, there was a specific
Yeah, that's
book.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did have some, but also like I didn't have all the books because we were not going to take the exams like the other students. I was in the class to get to know the language, the culture, the school life, but not to, really study and do the exams. I can imagine if you are like really going to school there to get your, degree, that it's also a different experience than I had.
Okay, last question. Were you going to public school? I'm planning to study 12th grade in there, and I'll probably be attending private or international school. Do you have any advice?
Well, I was going to public school. My host sister was going to a private one, but not all families in Turkey can
Afford it.
afford to go to a private school. But I remember my experience with public school was really good because there were students with all kind of backgrounds, like people who came from more poor families, also people who came from really like
Wealthy families. I
wealthy
had a couple
families.
of.
Yeah, like it's not that all people from wealthy families go to private schools. There were also people who chose to go to public schools. Like I don't know if there is a difference in how good the school would be.
I think if I remember it well, because I did have some friends who also, like even Natalia, like our Italian friend who was
Yeah.
also from AFS, was going to a private school. And I do think like just the infrastructure of the school was like 10 times better than the infrastructure of my school because I visited her school and I did see a big difference. It was bigger. They even had a swimming pool. Like in my school, there were people who didn't know how to swim. It was like a big gap, I would say. And probably they're also more prepared for then later doing the state exam because in my school, like you were saying, like the 12th graders, they had to study extra. They had to do it after class. And I think in this private school, they were also being prepared for these exams during class. But that's my perspective on it.
Yeah. I never went to private school actually. I think Nicole, my Italian friend who was also staying in Mersin, I think if I remember it right, she was also going to a private one. I only had experience with public one, but my experience was yeah, it was nice to go there.
Okay. And then we also had a couple of questions we wanted to ask each other.
Yeah.
Shall I start with one question?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. What's your favorite Turkish words?
My favorite Turkish words.
Do you have or like a favorite sentence? I can say my favorite Turkish joke.
Yeah, you can start. It's good.
Okay. Sad kaç?
Kaçmaz. I remember that one.
All right, now you go.
Okay, what's my favorite? Well, there are some words that I really like. Like I even had a words like I was thinking like if I go back to Belgium, I really want to get a dog one day. And there was this word, dostum. I really liked it.
What does it mean?
Dostum, it's like like really good friend. And like if you have like a pet, it's your like really good friend. So I was like, if I one day get a dog, I want to give it like a Turkish name.
And it's called because you're gonna call your dog Dostum.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure yet. Because,
I think it's a cute name for a dog,
yeah,
actually.
Dostum. Yeah.
Sounds good. Like, Dostum, come here.
Yeah. Also,
Sounds
I
kinda
remember
cute.
I said a lot of times Janim to all my friends. Janim, 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 Janim. I also really liked that word.
Yeah,
It was
I
really
really
cute.
liked the parts that like people in Turkey, they were always saying like cute names to each other instead of really calling you by the name. I remember I had a Turkish boyfriend for a while, and like we would never call each other by our first name, like only if you were like angry or something. And I didn't know this, so I remember like calling him by his first name once, and he was like, "Are you upset with me?" And I was like, "No, I'm just telling your name. Like, what's wrong?" And he was like, "Don't use that name. Say aşkım, like my love,
yeah.
aşkım." I was like, "Oh, okay, good." All right, you have a question?
Okay, yeah. My first question, I'm always wondering what happened with all the people that you knew back then, like all the people you studied with, like are they married? Do they have children? Because we are already like at an age that it could be that they are already, settling down.
Okay, so I don't know anyone with children, but I do know a lot of people who got married. Like, and they're 2 years younger than me, bear in mind. Like, yeah, like I feel like a lot of my old friends from back then, like not my closest friends actually, they're still, I would say like my closest friends from back then, they're still single. But like the most of the people from my high school, they like the guys then went to military school, or not military school, but they had like to do
The duty
military thing. And then a lot of the girls got married. I actually also know a couple of guys who got married. Like a lot of them are married. Like, I don't know. I feel like maybe in Turkey that's something you're doing faster if you have like a strong relationship. I remember even like I have now a relationship for like 7 years already with my boyfriend, and like I'm not thinking about getting married soon or at all. And my host family also asks like, "Oh, when are you going to get married or something?" And it's just because it's like in the culture, I think, to get married. And for us, it's not as necessary.
Yeah, I think it's cultural in Turkey also. Yeah, a lot of my friends got married, but in Belgium it's not that common anymore. Like it's your personal choice. Sometimes people get married, sometimes they don't, and they will never get married. You know.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, next question. What's the weirdest culture shock?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Well, there were different cultural shocks. Do you have an example?
Do I have an example of a cultural shock? Yeah, actually, definitely there were different things that they were doing different. We already talked about a couple of them, but one thing I thought was very funny, that when people were like surprised by something, they would stuck their thumb in their mouth and like place it on the top of their mouth, and then like make this weird sign with their thumb in their mouth to be like, "Oh, I'm surprised," or something, or I got scared or something. And apparently this comes, like, as I heard, this comes because when a little baby is like also surprised or scared or something, you should put like your thumb in this mouth to make sure that the top part of the mouth, I don't know the anatomy in English so well, doesn't drop or something, so that it's for some health reason apparently that you do this for babies. I mean, it's a Turkish thing. I don't know if they do this everywhere. And even if they still do this till today, maybe this used to be a thing that they did and not anymore. But I thought it was really weird because there's like grown men on the street. You're just chilling in a bus, looking outside, and then all of a sudden there's like a grown guy putting his thumb in his mouth while having a conversation.
Well, I might have an example, but I don't know if it's like really about like culture shock. But I remember in the winter, one day we were in the classroom and it started snowing outside.
Snowing.
Yeah. And like my whole class was like freaking out, like really literally freaking out. They stopped the class to let everybody go outside to watch and play in the snow. And I was like, what is happening? It's just snow. But apparently, like a lot of people in my class were seeing snow for like the first time in their life. Because, yeah, in the south of Turkey, it was not so common that it's snowing in the city. Like if you would go in the mountains, you would see snow, but like apparently a lot of people never went to the mountains in the winter. So yeah, we went like on the playground and everybody was like making fun, like making snowballs and like throwing them at each other. And like that was like a really cute but also like a funny moment because I was like, they were just stopping class because maybe even the teacher was seeing like snow for the first time in his life. And that was like a really, yeah, a moment that I still remember on this day.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I feel you. I remember for us it also snowed like once, and I remember I don't think like everybody was allowed to go out because I remember our class stayed at home, but everybody was looking outside of the window and it was not snowing so hard that we could like do something with the snow, sadly. But it was snowing and everybody was like, yeah, it's snowing. How do you say snow in Turkish again?
Kar?
Kar yağıyor.
Yes.
Kar yağıyor. Hocam. Kar yağıyor. Yeah. It's snowing. That was amazing. I remember that too. I have one more question. Do you think it's possible for anyone to learn another language when on an exchange?
I think it's possible for everybody, yeah, but I think it also depends on your own possibility to learn a new language. That's the first point. But even if you are not very good at learning language, I'm sure that everybody can learn. But maybe you will learn it different than your friends, but that's normal as well. Even in our group, there was a difference between all the exchange students. Like some were already speaking like quite good and understanding quite good. Others were still using English, were still struggling, but that's also okay. Like you maybe have other talents then, but still it's a really beautiful experience because you learn so much, you see so much. Yeah, even if you do not learn to speak as a native, which is
Yeah.
it's still a really really good experience.
Yeah.
It's also an eye opener. You I think you see from yourself how much it can be struggling sometimes. And I think it's also good to understand other people's position.
Yeah, and I think it's beautiful when you're trying to learn another language because you and I, we both have friends who don't know English. Like we would never have had these deep connections with these people if we didn't know their language. And of course, in Turkey, it's like another situation because not a lot of people everywhere speak English. Maybe now it changed a little bit again, but 10 years ago, definitely that wasn't the case. But even today, I feel like sometimes we all adapt to other people who come into our countries. And I think that's great that we all speak English, right? But I also always love to see when people try to learn the language and they're doing the effort. And even if it's not perfect, I think it's really brave that they're trying. And you really have to push yourself. And that's also something that not everybody wants to do. And I feel like we're blessed in a way that in Turkey, how to say, we had a lot of opportunity to learn because we didn't have another choice. Because a lot of people didn't speak anything else but Turkish.
Yeah.
But if you're coming to some country where everybody speaks English, you don't have to learn the language as badly. And a lot of people then struggle to learn it because it's going way slower. And for example, your host mom spoke English, mine didn't. Like we spoke Turkish all the way, like Google Translates.
Yeah.
Was the only English activity we had. So that was really like,
difficult. Yeah. One of the most beautiful things I remember is the moment in school I started speaking my first Turkish words. Everybody's like freaking out, like, oh my God, you're speaking Turkish. Even though I was just saying like few words, like not even pronouncing them perfectly, but they were like so enthusiastic because I was trying to speak the language that even if you fail, it doesn't feel like failing because they try to help you, but they are also like really proud that you're, learning their language. So it made it easier to learn and to make mistakes by speaking, because everybody was so happy and so encouraging for you to learn.
Yeah, but also being a foreigner in Turkey is different than being a foreigner in Belgium, I guess.
Yeah,
Because we have a lot of foreigners that are trying to learn the language. And also in school, we have a lot of people from everywhere. But in Turkey, I was the only foreign person in my whole school. I don't know about you.
Yeah, same.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like they were like really curious about everything.
Everybody wanted to be our best friend.
Yeah, they wanted to know everything. Everything was really
That's
nice.
actually another fun word in Turkish.
Kanka.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I can
was also
relate to
thinking
it,
about it,
but kanka is like kan kardeş, which is like
kanka, like a really, really
kan
good
from
friend.
like blood, and kardeşe, kardeş, like brother. Yeah. It's like blood brothers. All right, you have one more question?
Yeah, I have one more question. Did you ever consider moving to Turkey?
I did consider to study in Turkey, to do my university degree there, because in high school, like we did visit Istanbul. Yeah, we did like a Istanbul
In your high
city
school?
trip. In my Turkish high school.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, my Turkish high school. So there was like this 12th grade that was going to visit, what was it, 12th and 11th grade together. I think we were like a big group with a little bus to Istanbul. And we visited some campuses, and I was like, wow, this looks so different from in Belgium. In Belgium, we have like, it's in school. And in Turkey, it was really like a big campus, like, from like American movies, kind of. And that was pretty cool. But then I came home and I told my parents, and they were like, yeah, but probably it's better that you study in Europe because of the recognition of your exams, or like your final degree will be recognized better to find a job if you're studying in Europe rather than outside of the EU.
Yeah, more specifically because you're going to look for a job in Europe.
Yeah, because I was not going to, like, probably also my parents were like, please don't leave us.
Don't go again.
Don't go again. But then there I went. Now I'm living in Germany for 4 years already.
Wow.
Not in Belgium at the moment, but yeah. Did you consider to move to Turkey?
Well, a really funny story with the Italian friend I had there, Nicole. We were sometimes meeting and going to like a bar with friends of us. And I remember one day we spoke to each other and we said like they do not have a disco in Mersin. Like it's only cafes with live music. And we were like, we miss a disco. We have to move to Mersin. We open our own disco and it's going to be like a big business. But we were like, it was kind of joking, but also kind of dreaming, But then I came back to Belgium and I noticed that I would not be able to move for like forever because I would miss my family and my friends too much. That, yeah, I also still had my life in Belgium, of course. And like, yeah, that was a moment that I realized like, it's a dream, but I will not move. Of course, I will not move. Yeah, but I also thought about going there, studying, like maybe like more like Erasmus or doing volunteering work. But then, there come other opportunities in your life. I met my boyfriend. Yeah, but I also thought about it.
Yeah. Okay. And are there some final words that you want to say, considering that we talked a lot about Turkey?
Yeah. What I want to say is that if like people are thinking of going for like the same experience, it's like do not hesitate, just do it. Like it's been such a beautiful part of my life. It's also like you cannot underestimate it. You move there, you do not know the language, you build your new life, and then you have to leave it behind to go back to your home country.
Yeah,
but it's also such a beautiful year, or it has been such a beautiful year. You still have contact with some people, even though you do not hear them so much, but when you go back it's still like you never left. You have friendship for life. Yeah, it was like a really, really, really beautiful experience. Yeah, so if somebody is thinking about doing it, like do not hesitate. Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, like living abroad anywhere, if it's now Turkey or somewhere else, I think it's a beautiful way to get to know a place. Definitely when you're still younger, but independent from your age. And I would also say, like, throw yourself in a situation, try to make the surrounding, if you want to learn the language, for example, try to make the surrounding as good as possible to learn the language, to really tell the people that they cannot speak English to you. They really have to just speak the language that you want to learn. So try to dive in the culture with head first. You'll probably have a headache. You'll maybe make a couple of mistakes, but try to take your mistakes with some sense of humor, and at least you're trying and you're growing. And the people who don't try, they don't grow. So
Yeah. And it's possible that you might mistake some words. Like one time, instead of soup, I said sock. And like my friend was laughing at me and he was like, I was like, what? And he was like, you just said sock. And I was like, no way. And he was like, yeah. But the words sound so similar. So
what was it?
chorba
chorap
and chorap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said chorap to my chorba.
And then there's also shut up, which is wine.
Yeah, but I said sock to my soup, so it was, but it's quite a funny story. If I tell it now, I even have to laugh myself, but at the moment I was like, no, don't laugh with me. I'm trying, but yeah, it's it's normal that you struggle in the beginning, but it also gives you like really funny situations. So
yeah, and then you remember these little stories and you're like,
yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on the podcast. It was great having you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yay, this was a Christmas special. Thank you so much for listening, everybody home. Please, I would love to get as my Christmas gift a good rating, a good review wherever you listen to the podcast. How many stars do we want?
10. 5?
Yes,
5. We
There's
want
a
5
maximum
stars.
of 5, but give me 10. Tell your friends
give her
to give
10.
5 stars as well. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day wherever you are. Take care and goodbye. This was Travel Devil, brought to you by me, your host, Clara Francken. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to continue the conversation or suggest any future guests, you can go to my Instagram @Clara Francken. Take care, and I will see you next Thursday.